are they evil or are they trying to save someone's life? We play around a lot with that. And is Pia actually evil? When she's onomatopoeia, I like that's the juxtaposition between Pia and onomatopoeia. So when you see me with Bitsy and you see me working with Lois, there's there's a sweetness, and then also she's a destroyer.
It is very nice to meet you. I was not expecting someone like Onomatopoeia to come into this show and really change up the dynamic this season. Were you I just want to start from the beginning. Were you a big comic book fan, or what was superheroes, like what role did superheroes play in your life before booking the show?
I was kind of peripherally interested, meaning I wasn't a huge fan, but I always wanted to be in a superhero movie or TV show, always. As long as I can remember, it was one of my dreams, actually. So when this came along, I didn't even know that it was going to be that. So when I found out after being cast, it was a huge surprise. And I was beyond excited because literally I didn't think it was going to happen ever.
Well, it's one of those classic situations where they say, here, it's a mystery character. You do your audition, and then they say, oh, by the way, you're playing this character from the comic who's existed for all these years.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. It was initially not, they didn't want to do the reveal in the casting.
Mm-hmm.
I think so they kept it really secret and really hush hush. So I didn't find out until after getting cast and after speaking finally to the producers and writers. Then I found out it was onomatopoeia. So, it was a shock. And I was just, the first day I got to try on the super suit, that was the moment.
So the mask it's real, because I wasn't sure. I'm like, is this CGI, or like is the mask actually there? Like, so it's a practical thing you're wearing.
Yeah, there's two masks. So there's one, they're both physical. One mask is so they can do all of the special effects. It's kind of a special effects mask. And then the second one is just a physical mask that they can shoot when she's just not resting, but when she's not killing, when she's not destroying Superman.
Onomatopoeia is like resting phase. That I
It's the resting mask face, and then we have the other mask, which is like the destruction. Then when the destruction happens. So yeah, it's an actual mask for sure, and it was tricky. We had to fit so that I could breathe, and kind of the logistics of it were tricky, but we made it work, and then it was great.
Yeah, no, I remember because I was talking to Chad Coleman at the beginning of the season. I remember one of his favorite scenes was like when I think it was like from the first second episode where you give him like a look and you're like, don't look at me like that, but like you're not supposed to be able to see the reaction. So
yeah, he was hilarious with that, because sometimes you can't see my reaction, so he would mess with me. He was funny all the time while we were between takes. He'd be like, what are you looking at me like that for, Ano? Pia, why are you looking at me? I was like, behind the mask. Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
I know that you've talked about it, that I read some of your other interviews that you know this is a Kevin Smith character. So how like have you gone and looked into the work he did with onomatopoeia in the comic? Because this your version and Kevin's version are obviously very, very different, but like how much did you jump into wanting to learn more about onomatopoeia from the mythos?
Once I found out the character, I dived in for sure. I did all my research. I read everything I could possibly read up. There's not a whole lot, because he or she at that time was never put on screen. So most of the stuff was just in the comic book realm. And so I read up on that. I read up what Kevin Smith wanted to do, and just everything I could absorb, I did. And I've since I'm trying to get in touch with him, see what he thinks.
Oh my God, you need to get on his podcast. Like that would be amazing. You just
Oh yeah.
Because he said,
Kevin Smith,
yeah.
I'm here. I can talk about Anna. Let's talk about it.
Talk about working with Chad Coleman, because again, this episode just aired this week where we find out that the Pia and onomatopoeia are the one and the same. Did you get like at the beginning of the season, like how, like talk about building that chemistry and then getting into, because I was not prepared that we were actually going to meet Bruno's family, and I wasn't prepared that Pia was actually onomatopoeia was going to be his wife.
Yeah, were you shocked? Were you surprised?
I was surprised because I'm like, who's this sweet lady that's like bonding with Clark and Lois? And then I'm like, mother effort, like what just happened?
Oh my God, I love it. I love that's the whole point. That's the twist. And oh man, we had so much fun with that in terms of me and Chad. Chad and I just have a lot of chemistry. We really clicked right off the bat and we worked well together. So once we knew we were family, once that, because again, I'm finding out as I'm reading the scripts, I'm kind of discovering everything as it's happening. So once we found that out, we had so much fun.
Yeah, because I guess that when you came in the beginning of the season, like they just told you you're just onomatopoeia, and then you literally found out at the same time as we did just by reading 307.
Yeah, they did. Okay, so they did tell me. I knew that Chad was going to be important, but and then oh yeah, this is what happened. The writers asked me. They said, "How much do you want to know in advance?" Because Wole, Wole.
Oh, I love
Like,
Olay.
we love Wole. So Wole and I were laughing because Wole doesn't like to know anything in advance. He does not want to know. And so the writers asked me, "Do you want to know?" And I said, "Well, I want to know a little bit." So they were kind of hinting to me. They're like, well, you're going to be very close to Chad and you guys are going to be maybe family. So I was getting the hint, but it was a dance. It was definitely a dance. So yeah, it was funny.
Now we've just started to touch the surface on the dynamic. Would you say there is a big episode coming up this season where because this show does flashbacks pretty really well. Like, are we going to learn more about their marriage? How Pia got sick, how she got her power. Like, is that something you can touch upon?
Yeah, that is coming up. I can tease it a little bit that there's a couple of episodes coming up that are going to be just so fantastic. I'm so excited for the next one and the one after. You really are going to kind of get a more deep dive into Pia's background, why they're where they are, how it happened, some of the mythology that we chose to go on. Because, we break apart from the Arrowverse a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we're you've noticed that where we kind of play, we're in the Arrowverse, but we also play off of it. So I think I'm really excited for the fans to see how the writers used what's happening in the mythology of Superman and Bruno Mannheim, but also had tangents out from it. And yeah, some really cool relationships are going to form. You're going to be, there's more spoilers. There's more stuff.
Oh, I bet. Like something that I find, because I've loved this about Bruno since the beginning, and I'm getting the sense about Pia as well, despite her going deadly on Superman. But I feel like these are not the typical villains that we're used to. Like, I feel like there's somehow a moral gray side to both of them. Would you say? Am I just grasping at straws, or like is that like there seems to be another layer to these two, that they're not just wanting to rule the world or destroy anything like that, but there's something more. Am I on to something?
Oh yeah, no, you're right on. You're right on. That's exactly what we're talking about this season. I think cancer is the villain. Lois says it in the last episode. She says this cancer is actually the villain of the season, because it's complicated when you're dealing with Bruno and Pia and why they're doing what they're doing. And it blurs moral lines. If you're trying to save someone's life, how far would you go to save someone you love? And so it's tricky. Are they evil or are they trying to save someone's life? We play around a lot with that. And is Pia actually evil? When she's onomatopoeia, that's the juxtaposition between Pia and onomatopoeia. So when you see me with Bitsy and you see me working with Lois, there's a sweetness, and then also she's a destroyer. So we purposely played with those two things, the writers and me as the actor.
Yeah, because talk about that dynamic with Lois, because a part of me feels like I don't think she's faking this. Like, I feel like she actually she cares about Lois. Like, do you think that will that maybe complicate things for Pia later in the season?
Well, you're good. You see, you're right on it. You're picking up on all of the nuances. Yeah, that is 100% also going to be an issue. So it's not exciting if I don't really care. Like, I really do care. I mean, I think it's a surprising relationship. When I get close to her, that's real. And how much am I trying to get something? How much is it real? I think I want the audience to wonder that. But I would say that I was surprised by how fun she was and how much our relationship we clicked.
You guys really, yeah, because when I after as I watched the episode the first time, I went back to rewatch it because I went back to the scene specifically where Pia gets a little shaken by the idea that Lois is investigating Bruno. Like, I could never imagine him, like, the place that has helped me doing something so evil. I'm like, I think we saw, like, that was Pia cracking. Like, I think she was feeling something. That wasn't her just putting on like an act. She's like, how dare you accuse my husband of doing this thing that you're trying to, expose him about.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, no, that was when I got that script and I saw she was talking about what happened, what he's done. That's the thing. He transformed Hobbs Bay. I mean, he did. And our whole thing, I love the line where he says to Superman when he was flying by, but you didn't stop here. You didn't fly by with us. That's a really important line in episode, I believe it's in episode 4 that he says that to him, because that's the whole point. Wait, we were on our own. Superman, you were going to Metropolis, but what about Hobbs Bay? What about us? We had to take it into our own hands. And that kind of models a little bit with, our world and social justice. We have all these little layers.
Yes, that's exactly what me and Chad were talking about. I'm like, oh my God, did Bruno just call out Superman on his white privilege? I'm like, I've never seen this.
You are so astute. Yes. Like, there's all of those things are at play. Like, it's just a trip. That's what I love about these writers. It's not just a little superhero movie or TV show. They are really playing with those different dynamics.
Yeah, no, because like in the comics, I know Bruno, Bruno isn't the way they've done Bruno on the show. So, like, again, just the idea that when Superman flies into his office and he's like, how dare you accuse me of this and so on, and then like my entire life I've been accused of things just because of the way I look, and I'm like, Superman is not ready for this.
No. And Superman and how he grows from that. How does he going to change over this season? How is Lois going to change over this season with being confronted with these things? That's the other thing about this. Like, they have to deal with that, and how do they grow? Watch for that too. That's a really cool part of this season.
That's it's a nice contrast because you have these two married couples who are in their own ways. They're trying to save the world. They're trying to save the world, but Pia and Bruno are having to do it differently because they weren't given the same attention as someone like Lois Lane or Superman would get. So, like, again, that's why I'm like, again, I really hope someone like Kevin Smith pays attention and looks at what they're doing with his character, because I've read a little bit of Onomatopoeia in the comics, but yeah, you guys are definitely pulling a lot more twists than I think even he could have expected.
Yeah, I don't know if you Jay Jameson is one of the writers on our show, and he also directed episode 11, and he's the one who pitched the whole idea of Onomatopoeia first season. And he's one of our Black writers in the room, and he is so talented and so smart. Yes. He's so smart. He was thinking about all this stuff, I think, from the beginning. And I will say that we were on a plane ride home from Canada, and he and I were on the plane. And when he told me that, I didn't know that he's the one that pitched it. And I just said, you are writing this so layered. And it's because he, along with the other writers in the room, thought about important things. And that's just representation. And that's really important. And we appreciate it. That's why representation matters in the writer's room.
Amen.
Because had we not had that, I don't know if someone else would have understood it to that level that he did, maybe. But it's just, we got to tell a story that's not always told.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like any other show, like if let's say they tapped, Chad Coleman as Bruno, they like if it had him, like if there wasn't those voices of color behind that, I don't think we would have that this social undertone of, hey, yes, Superman's doing all these great things, but him never stopping by suicide slums. That's because again, even though he's an alien, Superman is a white man. So
yeah, and to deal with that in this day and age, to bring that up into the comic book space where representation is an issue in the comic book space. Like, we are, that's something that we're all trying to fight for. So to bring that into a CW show, I thought that was bold and really great and creative of the writers. And it just makes us have conversations like this. And I mean, and I love how they did it. They did it subtly. They didn't hit you over the head. It's just it was done in a very great, easy way to where we could just like, if you're thinking about it, it's making you think. That's how it should be done. Like, it should make us think. It should make us question everything we take for granted.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for us, people call it like, again, like, that's why I'm like, the first time I even watched the episode, I'm like, it just like, for me, like, I'm listening to all of it. I'm like, yeah, I know what Bruno is saying without him actually saying it. And so yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to see how they explore you guys as moral gray characters, because I don't feel like I can call Pia or Bruno like typical villains. Like, maybe antagonists are the better words, because like, yeah, I mean, okay, yes, Pia was trying to kill Superman and his son, but is there might be a reason. I don't know how I'm trying to justify this, but you get what I'm saying.
It's complicated.
It's complicated.
And trying to do it was complicated. Even when we were doing it, I'm like, man, I'm also befriending your wife, but I'm killing, but I'm, all of that was at play. I was thinking about all of that while I was doing it. I'm like, oh man, so now I'm like really trying to destroy you. It was that, but that's what it is. Why? That's human beings. Those are human beings and superheroes too.
I'm just guessing at some point this season, there has to be a point where Pia discovers that, oh, Superman is also Lois's husband. Theoretically, would that complicate things too? Because suddenly, because if her care for Lois is genuine, and she discovered this is her husband, like,
right. See, that was another question I had. We especially in that first scene, like when I first meet Lois, do I know? And I do know. I know that she is married to Superman. So I played it that she knows, but that she has cancer. And I have cancer. And that's, again, goes back to where cancer trumps all. It trumps all. When you're facing a life-threatening disease, it trumps everything. It trumps all of the menial burden. All of the things that you think are important aren't as important. So that's what I was playing with in those scenes, because I know who she is. I know what I'm doing, and I even know what she's doing. I don't know how much she's trying to research it, or get into, Hobbs Bay medical, but I do know who she is. So, but she's also sick. So that, right? It's like that's the hard part. And that's also going to come up. Just keep watching, because this theme, that's through the whole thing. That theme right there is going to be brought up a lot.
On Tuesday's episode, what can you tease our viewers specifically? What's coming up on Tuesday's episode?
I think you're going to find out some background stuff. You're going to start to understand some of these questions that you're asking are going to be answered. Some of them. There's some of the background, some of the history. I think we're going to maybe go on a little bit of a memory lane.
Okay, yeah, well, because that's something I love with the show, that they do flashbacks really, really well. So yeah, like because the moment when Bruno is like breaking, he's like, I will save you, I will cure you. I'm like, okay, now I need to know what happened.
Yeah.
This is just me asking as a nerd, because like, did you get to keep the mask by any chance? Like, did you get to keep a prop or something?
Not yet, because my son just said he wanted to have it for Halloween. I'm like, oh. He literally wants to have it for Halloween. No, I didn't get to keep it, because they're going to need it. You never know when they have to do reshoots or what might come in the future. Usually they keep those things. So yeah. Oh, goodness.
But yeah, because you guys have wrapped filming already at this point, right?
Yeah, we wrapped. So yeah, I don't have it, but maybe one day I'll get it. So
yeah, because it's a very beginning. I thought the whole time it was just like a VFX mask. So the fact that you're standing on set with that thing on you, I'm just like, how does she see in that thing? Like are there holes where you can see something?
It's a mesh. So it's a mesh that's designed to basically where you can't see in, but you can see out. That special kind of mesh. And then they did this really. I don't know what they used. But it was very controlled. And then we also had to, if you notice when the reveal happens, the reveal has to be pulled off in a special way. Like it had magnetic. It was magnetic.
There was something. There was something I noticed.
It was a magnetic attachment, so you had to pull it. So that was costumes. The costume designer she's amazing. Her name's Kat. her wardrobe along with that was just incredible. She designed the whole thing. So she, along with, there's like a superhero, they're a team that's for that too. They help you with it. They're the ones that help. So they put a lot of time and effort into the costumes, the superhero and the supervillain costumes.
Yeah, no, I'm just happy that that, because I remember Kevin Smith always saying, "Oh, I don't know if they could ever bring this villain to life," and then like basically Superman Lois goes, "Hold my beer, let us show you something."
Yeah, that's
But
exactly right. He did. I think they took the challenge. Jay, this is another thing Jay said, he was like, listen, that was a challenge. They didn't think that it could really be a visual character because she's all about sound and it was on the comic books. How do we make this visual? And they figured out a way. And that's why it's so cool. And that she has powers that can rival Superman without the kryptonite.
yeah, so yeah, that because as a comic book fan, like anytime he's, for example, like in the comics, where like Superman will go up against Black Canary, that's just like, yeah, the sonic screams or whatnot can take him. So that's why I love the fight sequence in the last episode of he actually, like, it challenges him, like it's not just kryptonite.
Yeah, it wasn't just kryptonite. I mean, the kryptonite, he remember, he was like, he got down but her sonic blasts, I mean, and again, that's another one I can tease. Just, oh man, just wait till the end of this thing. Like, it is so crazy how far they go with this. It's when I started getting the scripts near the end, those scripts, literally Chad and I were calling each other. We were like, oh my God, can you believe, like, it was next level writing on this stuff. I couldn't believe they blew me away when I was reading the script. So I just cannot wait till the audience gets to see it.
Well, then in that case, can you, give me something about the finale? What blows you away about the finale?
Oh man, the finale. Yeah, I can't say anything. It's anything I would say would kind of give it away. It's just big. It's just big. That's the only way to describe it. It's I mean, we thought last season with worlds colliding were big.
Mm-hmm.
the square world and the small. This is right. They know how to do it. They know how to do big endings, I will say. But
oh yes. Yeah, no, I know, yeah, because I know, like, you guys, I know there was like a few times where you guys were filming for the finale outside and so on. Bobby's like, but I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I need to know something. What are you working on right now outside of Superman Lois?
I came back. It's funny. So I left Canada. We shoot in Vancouver, and so I'm in Cancer and superhero and all this stuff. And I immediately come back here and start Black Hamptons, which is the complete opposite thing. It's like Dynasty set in the Hamptons. So it's all makeup and hair and dresses and gorgeousness. So it was fun to go from that to this, and that's what I'm shooting right now. I'm shooting that in LA.
Oh yeah. Because I talked to other people who work on some of the other airworks in Vancouver, and like, yeah, like once they get back to LA, whatever, they're just like, it's the complete opposite. It's like there's no snow, there's no rain. So how long did it take for you to get accustomed to filming in Vancouver?
Good question. Not too long, but it was an adjustment because it's different out there. I mean, it's freezing and you're filming in that. I mean, there was
plus the night shoots.
And it's night shoots. So there's one coming up. I can't say what it is, but I'll just say that when we were shooting outside, there were literal rats, like rats, going through the set. Like, we were outside and we're shooting and we were making jokes. We were like, okay, so the rats are like the extras.
The
rats were because literally the director would go action and the rats would go, but it fit the scenes because the scenes are supposed to be dark, and it was a really, really high stakes. I won't say who I'm battling somebody, and it's high stakes, and the rats are like going, and I was just sitting there going, are these rats like for real? Okay,
please don't tell me that there's a close up on the rats, because I can't deal with no rats.
I don't think they did it. I hope not. I don't think they got any close-ups, but if you look closely, I'm sure someone, in fact, when that episode airs, I'm going to look closely because I'm sure on one of those takes, you're going to see some rats going by. Sure. We'll reconvene when it airs to see if you see them. They ran right by me. right by me.
Oh well, then you're stronger than I am. Because if I was in a scene and I ran by me, I'll be like, I will film tomorrow morning. I don't care what rewrite y'all gotta do. I ain't doing this. I got no time for no rats. So.
Oh my God, that's funny. A lot of people were saying that. I was like, no, I'm onomatopoeia. I'm so method. I was like, I'm onomatopoeia. No rat will stop me. Yeah, I was one with the rats.
I was one with the rats. That's the quote of the day. Well, Daya, thank you so much for your time today. Congrats on what's been a really game-changing season. I cannot wait to see where PA is going, and I look forward to see whatever is y'all guys going at finale. I definitely look forward to it. So thank you so much for your time, and maybe we'll chat in the future about
Yeah,
the
that
next
sounds
one.
great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.